Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we have a brand new Transcended character tier list guide that I want to take you through and talk about and explain why I've ranked these characters this way so that you can make better decisions on who you're going to transcend next, especially given the 2, 3, and possibly more game modes nowadays that only allow tier 3 and transcended characters. But first, we only have 5 more New Year's gift chests, and I've opened them all. I've opened the other 25. And I've gotten absolutely nothing. So I've literally gotten nothing good. So we're gonna open these in the video here and see if possibly my luck can turn around. Honestly, I think that 50,000 gold was the best thing I got. Okay. Well, there you go. Not everybody gets lucky. So yeah, now let's go back and talk about the Transcended character list. So I'm gonna be posting this list down below in the description as a link that you can go and download and save on Imager, and I'll also be posting it on Discord, just the same way that I did for the null one. So essentially, as it seems to be designed, besides null's face at the top and the bottom, green is good, green is best, and then as you go down, yellow is not so good, kind of so-so, and then of course red is bad, is the worst. So I'll get the worst ones out of the way first. Unfortunately, Silk has to claim the prize, the top billing of worst transcended character. She didn't get a uniform, neither did Elsa. The only thing that really puts Elsa ahead of Silk is that Elsa has a leadership. So that is actually worth something. Elsa's leadership is 30% increased physical damage to all allies, or physical attack, excuse me. So that means Elsa can work in Danger Room Extreme and in Null World Boss. And actually, physical attack is one of the harder things to get leaderships for. You know, you've got Ares, you've got Elsa, you've got Crescent, and you got Hulk. There's very, very short list of characters that do the physical side, whereas there's a ton of characters, and there's a ton of strong characters that do energy attack, you know, Scarlet Witch, etc. So that's why Elsa and Silk are down at the bottom. To date, they are the only characters that didn't get uniforms but did get transcended skills. I hope that Marvel Future Fight does not continue to do this. I'm kind of 60-40 flip-flopping on this. I appreciate that they got some kind of rework, and it means that if they get a uniform in the future, they'll have tremendous value. But on the other hand, it kind of sucks that they're sort of like booby prizes, and they're kind of like memes now until they get uniforms. So it's good and it's bad. Then we got War Tiger, Sunbird, and then a little bit higher you've got Blue Dragon and Shadow Shell. Now, before the changes with Null and DRX, these characters definitely had more value because of the lower ceiling in the game. The ceiling in the game was lower. You know, Blue Dragon and Shadow Shell could do high stages of World Boss Ultimate, which was the highest barometer for PvE content, but they're basically, none of them are good for squad battle. None of them are good for ABX. They are not good for Null World Boss Legend. They're not good for Danger Room Extreme. Even if you synergize them together, all of their synergies are defensive besides Blue Dragon's leadership. You know, Shadow Shell's passive is damage reduction for all allies, and then Sunbird's passive is the revive. Neither of those things is going to help you in Null. I mean, the damage reduction helps a little bit in Null, but you can't revive in Null. So Sunbird's literally useless. And then it doesn't really matter in Danger Room Extreme. Reviving is not an issue. Survivability is not an issue. It's all about, and it has been for a long time, damage, damage, damage. So yeah, they've definitely taken a hit. They're basically only used now, in my opinion, for Alliance Conquest. So yeah, they can't really be too high up on the list. And then we have the sort of third tier of characters with Ares, Spider-Woman, Red Guardian, and Red Skull. All of these characters, I would say, are decent investments. I wouldn't say that any of the characters in the top 3 rows are bad. However, I would say that it's really, for Transcended characters, there is really quite a gap between the first row of characters and the second row. And then there's also a gap between the second row of characters and the third row of characters. In terms of, you know, overall productivity, although they were released at the exact same time and they both don't have uniforms, the colossal gap between Moonstone and Ares. I'm not picking on Ares on this one, but you know, the difference between these two characters is massive, to the point where, you know, although I said the third bar is not bad, you really are, you know, you're going down at least a tier, if not 2 tiers, between Moonstone's tier and Bullseye's tier, and then Bullseye's tier and Ares tier. There's less of a gap as you go down, but I do need to highlight the fact that those 5 characters at the top, maybe not Medusa, but definitely Moonstone, Mystique, Beta Ray Bill, and Moon Knight are head and shoulders above pretty much every other Transcended character in the game, and they're head and shoulders above some or most tier 3s in the game. Yeah, they don't just compete, they can actually supersede. Now, one quick thing I want to mention before we continue in the video, I probably should have mentioned it earlier. I think some people still don't know this. You do not need any other characters to transcend and awaken anymore. You no longer need to have any other characters. So I don't think I can show you, but basically when you go to transcend a character, like or you go to awaken a character, excuse me, like for example, Gwenum, there's no requirements for me to awaken her anymore. The requirements have been removed completely. So you don't need Spider-Woman, you don't need Morbius for Moon Knight, you don't need Magneto for Mystique, you don't need any of those. You don't need Odin for Beta Ray Bill. All of their costs are now equal besides their other costs. So, you know, Mystique costs 2,500 crystals up front. Red Guardian and Bullseye need uniforms. Moonstone costs 6,600 crystals, and then you get 1,500 back. Beta Ray Bill requires you to basically tier 3 Star-Lord. There are other costs involved, but the character costs have been removed completely, and that's especially important for what were the 2 most expensive characters, Mystique and Beta Ray Bill. Those characters were by far the most expensive because of the fact that you needed Odin for him and you needed Magneto for her, which required you to invest another big chunk of crystals besides her. Like, she was like a 9,000 crystal cost character when she originally debuted, or almost 9,000, because no, yes, 6,600, 8,600, 9,100. That was the joke. She's a 9,000 crystal cost character because you have to awaken her. Now, obviously the obelisks or the CTPs next to them are my personal recommendations. This is not something that you have to follow necessarily. In my opinion, specifically for Beta Ray Bill and Moonstone, I will highlight those 2 characters. I don't think Rage is good on those characters. I've had a lot of people ask me about Moonstone, Energy or Rage. Honestly, Energy is just straight up better for her than Rage. You stack all of the damage, it works better, the chain hit damage is better, it's just better overall. It's nice to see, it honestly is nice to see that there are characters that are still being released in 2020 or 2021 almost that are actually legitimately better with Energy than Rage. Because usually we just automatically assume, yeah, they're good with Rage and they'll good with Energy and they'll be better with Rage. But no, Beta Ray Bill is better with Energy, especially if you're stacking all the damage for a one-shot or you're trying to, you know, burst down the enemy in DRX. And Moonstone is head and shoulders better with an Energy than with a Rage. And I'm not assuming it's a reforged Energy. I'm not assuming that. I'm just assuming that it's a regular Energy or a regular Rage. So I do want to keep that in mind. Moonstone or Moon Knight is also maybe a little bit easier to play with an Energy because of the way that his proc works. He doesn't crit very often. He doesn't have any guaranteed crit. So it can be a little bit frustrating with a Rage, although I and a lot of people have a Rage on him. I wouldn't say Energy is better than Rage, but it's a lot closer than it is for some other characters. And, you know, there are some characters like, for example, Medusa, where on the flip side, I'm saying, so on the one hand, I'm saying Moonstone is definitely better with an Energy. Don't even give her a Rage. And then on the other hand, I'm saying that Medusa is good with an Energy, but she'll be better with a Rage. So you have to do some independent interpretation, and there are those 2.5 exceptions, Moonstone and Beta Ray Bill, and then sometimes Moon Knight. But pretty much every other character, it goes the same way that it did for the null icons, where it's, you know, you can use Energy or Rage. But then, in my opinion, for Mystique, Bullseye, and Ares, you're probably not going to have much fun with an Energy. You're probably just looking for a Rage for these characters if you're trying to get the most out of them. So that's sort of how I did it and how I positioned them. I don't personally have experience with Transcended, obviously, with Transcended Gwenum, Morbius, or Spider-Woman. So I am relying on other players for my opinions about those characters. So I do welcome your feedback if you have video evidence of these characters clearing high-end content. The majority of the content that I look at when I'm trying to compare Transcended characters is, of course, Danger Room Extreme, World Boss Null, High Level World Boss Ultimate, and then ABX and PvP. Those game modes are important. Really, the most important ones, in my opinion, though, are the 2 where you have to use Tier 3 and Transcended characters. Null and Danger Room Extreme. And so in that case, far and away the best characters are especially those 3 characters at the top: Moonstone, Mystique, and Beta Ray Bill. And actually, I want to make this extra clear, or as you know, an extra important notice here. Mystique actually got better. I believe it was in the last symbiote update, because they changed Danger Room Extreme to now allow supports. So before the update, for whatever reason, support abilities were not working. So her Perfect Deception passive was not working in Danger Room Extreme. It is working now. So if you meet a team in Danger Room Extreme of Magneto, Namor, and Mystique, or Magneto, Professor X, and Mystique, they might crush you in like 30 seconds because her passive works, and so she deals massive damage. And the amazing thing about her in Danger Room Extreme, especially for Mystique might be, well, she's not the best. She's the second best. But anyways, the amazing thing is she deals damage to heroes and villains. So she's good for all 3 weeks of Danger Room Extreme, not just against villains, right? She also does extra damage against Jean Grey. However, if you guys are still sleeping on Moonstone, she's insane. She's absolutely deserves this list. She can do the 100-second challenge against Null on stage 9 to unlock the stage 10 requirement. She can one-shot phase 1 of Null World Boss Legend. She can one-shot the first 30 bars. My Moonstone, without crafted cards and without crafted CTPs, can do on stage 5 or 6. She's doing like 7-8 bars of damage in just one rotation. So she's 1/3 of the way to one-shotting it already. And her build is not complete yet, and I'm rank 1400. She's also the fastest character for Danger Room Extreme. Despite not having a leadership, 3 Moonstones is basically unbeatable. You cannot beat 3 Moonstones. It's that scary. So yeah, take that into consideration as well. Obviously, she's the most expensive, or her and Beta Ray Bill are the most expensive now, but she definitely has earned her place. The cost is definitely reflected in the return on investment and in the value. So hopefully this list has helped you decide on your next Transcended Awakened character. We do need to see this ranking of characters be flushed out more. We do need to see more options. So hopefully they'll give us some more unique Transcended and Awakened characters that we can then use to sort of diversify the list a little bit more, because it does really feel like it's just damage is king, burst, 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 and there's not a lot of nuance in the list. There are some characters like Red Skull and Morbius that can actually hold their own in PvP really well, but again, there's just not enough nuance in PvP for that to really matter. And as you can see, the ones that were actually designed for PvP, the Warriors of the Sky, their value just continues to drop because their damage has not kept up. So yeah, that's just my opinion, but I hope to hear from you as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.